If you think you've been having a rough patch lately, a rough go of it, let me make you feel instantly better. At least you're not Mike Johnson. That's right. The Republican Speaker of the House has had an extremely difficult week, month, last couple months, ever since the government shutdown started. And now we are hearing talk, real talk from Republican House members that Johnson may not be the Speaker of the House come 2026, or at least come November 2026, when we've got a midterm election. I want to go through all of it. And I've made videos before praising Johnson because I do think he deserves credit for the legislative victories he has scored, despite having a teeny tiny majority in the House. But clearly his expiration date is either past or coming up soon as it relates to his appeal or lack thereof among his Republican colleagues. So I want to go through, there is literally a laundry list in the last month of things that have gone wrong for Mike Johnson, some within his control, some not within his control. But I want to go through all of those because I do think he's like clinging on to the speakership at the moment. The best part for him may be that there's no obvious person to replace him as speaker, and Republicans don't want to have this big fight out in the open like they've had in the past as person after person fails to get a majority of the Republican conference to vote for them to be speaker. That's the best news for you. You're not really in a very good place. So let's go through all of the things that have gone wrong in literally the last 6 weeks. And I'll start with this week with Mike Johnson, but literally the last 6 weeks, things that have gone wrong for him. Before I do that, I want to make a quick pitch to you. Hit that subscribe button, become a subscriber, support my journalism and what I'm doing here for two reasons. Reason one, word one, independent. I'm independent from corporate and legacy media. I am on my own. Number two, authentic. I should add, I'm also independent from the two political parties. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm a journalist. Number two, word, authentic. I'm always going to give it to you how I see it and give it to you straight. You may not agree with me all the time. That's a good thing. You shouldn't agree with me all the time. I'm not in the fan service business. I'm going to give you my honest take always. Doesn't mean I'll always be right, but you'll know where it came from. All right, Mike Johnson, let's go through it. So let's start on Wednesday. On Wednesday, Donald Trump pardoned Henry Cuellar, Democratic member of Congress, sitting in a Republican district, who was one of Mike Johnson and House Republicans' main targets going into 2026. Someone who they thought they could beat to try to pick up some Democrat seats as they cling to their majority. Well, Donald Trump pardoning Henry Cuellar makes beating Henry Cuellar a whole lot less likely. And even so, that's bad enough. But even more depressing, Mike Johnson did not know that was what Donald Trump was going to do. Mike Johnson told Axios, quote, "I didn't know anything about the pardon of Henry Cuellar on Wednesday afternoon." So yeah, Richard Hudson, who runs the Republican campaign committee in charge of trying to pick up seats, said, quote, "The pardon certainly makes it tougher for the GOP to flip Cuellar's seat. No duh, as they used to say when I was a kid." So not only is a vulnerable Democratic member pardoned, but Mike Johnson didn't know about it. That's a tough beat. On Tuesday was the Tennessee special election. Now, the Republican candidate, Matt Van Epps, won. Okay, he won by 9 points. Here's the problem. Trump had won that district by 22 points a year ago. So that's 13 points less, because I'm good at math. If every district that Donald Trump won by 13 points or less, like if every district's going to move 13 points away from the Trump number, that is going to be a colossal wave for Democrats next November. Now, I don't think it'll do that, but let's say every Republican member is in a district Donald Trump won by 7 points or less. If they're all targeted and in trouble, then it's just a colossal headache for Johnson that I'm not sure he can do anything about. But that probably wasn't the worst story for Mike Johnson on Tuesday. The worst story for Mike Johnson on Tuesday came in the form of Elise Stefanik, former member of the House leadership, still colleague of Mike Johnson. She blew Mike Johnson up in an interview with the Wall Street Journal. Let me just read you two Elise Stefanik quotes. Here's one. It's all bubbling over. Whereas former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy was a political animal, Mike Johnson is a political novice, and boy does it show, with the House Republicans underperforming for the first time in the Trump era. That wasn't all she said. She also told the Journal this: he certainly wouldn't have the votes to be speaker if there was a roll call vote tomorrow. I believe that the majority of Republicans would vote for new leadership. It's that widespread. Now, Stefanik was particularly pissed off because Johnson had worked with Democrats, or at least let Democrats take a provision out of this big bill that funds the Pentagon. It was a provision she was pushing that would say that Congress would have to be alerted anytime the FBI opened an investigation, a counterintelligence investigation, into someone running for president or other federal office. This is a response to 2016 when the FBI opened a counterintelligence investigation into Donald Trump's campaign as it was investigating Russia's attempts to influence the election. Okay, so she went bananas. Johnson said, I don't know anything about this. I've never heard of it before now. To which Stefanik said he was a liar, her word, liar, and that she and he had talked about it. Now, they eventually made nice, but man, if you're Mike Johnson, you don't want Elise Stefanik, who is Donald Trump's chosen candidate to run for governor of New York in 2026. You really don't want her out there just bad mouthing you, calling you a liar, saying you lied to her, saying you would lose if you had to run for the speakership right now. I mean, that's all to the bad, right? I mean, it's all, and that in the Tennessee special election happened on the same day, and then the next day, Donald Trump pardoned Henry Cuellar. Okay, but that is far from it. I've got literally 3 Post-it notes filled with other things that have gone wrong for Mike Johnson recently. Florida Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna. She has been pushing a bill that would ban members of Congress from trading stocks while they are in office. Okay. Johnson has been blocking this for months. He does not want there to be a vote on this. Now, Anna Paulina Luna is a Republican, a very Trumpy Republican. So she is now fed up, and she has taken that stock bill, it's literally called the Stock Act, and started a discharge petition, which you will remember is the exact same way that 4 Republicans, as well as all the Democrats, and ran Mike Johnson's leadership on the release of the Epstein files, forced a vote on the Epstein files release that Johnson eventually had to vote for because he saw the writing on the wall. So Anna Paulina Luna has started a discharge petition, again, just basically saying, I'm ignoring that Mike Johnson is ignoring this bill, and I am going to take extreme measures to try to get it on the floor. There is ongoing unhappiness with this. So that's one. Another one. There's ongoing unhappiness with how Johnson handled the shutdown, keeping members of Congress out of session, out of Washington for almost 2 months. Marjorie Taylor Greene has been very critical of it. California Congressman named Kevin Kiley has been critical of it. Just this idea that they lost momentum, that they were doing the wrong thing, that he was only doing it because he didn't want the discharge petition on the Epstein files to get signed. So there's that. You have Republican female lawmakers. Paulina Luna is one of them. Kat Kamek is another, both from Florida, who are very unhappy with the fact that Johnson is blocking an attempt to censure Florida Republican Congressman Corey Mills, who has a slew of allegations against him, including mistreatment of women. That has led them to be unhappy. They've basically said publicly, these are insider deals being made. We need to drain the swamp. Then you have, and I mentioned her earlier, but you have Marjorie Taylor Greene's resignation, her blasting the Republican Party, the House Republican leadership in particular, for their lack of paying attention to what matters to voters and what's important. And you have the fact that other Republican members are rumored to be maybe following Marjorie Taylor Greene's lead. Nancy Mace said she was going to meet with Marjorie Taylor Greene in the near future. Nancy Mace, Congresswoman from South Carolina, running for governor of South Carolina, said she might resign because the House is so unmanageable. And again, you have Elise Stefanik saying it's bubbling up, and Mike Johnson wouldn't win a leadership vote if it happened today. And Elise Stefanik is she's not Marjorie Taylor Greene of the House Republican Conference, right? She was in leadership. So it all is kind of coming to a head here. You've got a record number of retirements at this point in the 2026 election. A lot of House members already leaving. I think concerns that there will be even more amid a bad political environment, or what looks like it's going to be a bad political environment, as well as an unhappiness with how Johnson is running the House. Johnson, for his part, gave an interview Not sure why, but he and his wife gave an interview to Katie Miller, who is Stephen Miller, one of Donald Trump's chief advisors. She has a podcast. It's a very friendly podcast for MAGA types. That's probably why Johnson did it. But in talking about being speaker, it really sounds like Johnson is not having a good time. Let me just read you a quote or two. Here's one. Quote, "We're in triage every day, and every day is different. There's no pattern or schedule. We're kind of in a survival mode right now. We order in food because we just don't have the time or luxury of cooking." Okay. He said, quote, "We have this joke that I'm not really a Speaker of the House." Ooh, I mean, that's not great. How about this one? "I haven't had a vacation in 2 years. I haven't been off in 2 years, literally." Or this one, "Even when you think the work of the day is done and you put the phone down, it can be 11:30 at night. Ring, ring, another crisis. You're sort of like a firefighter in a way." There's one other one that I want to read because it's brutal. He talks about, wait, let me see if I can find it. I might not be able to find it. But I mean, it's just the interview over and over and over again is just devastating. It just doesn't sound like he's having a good time. He just doesn't seem happy. And I think that Republicans in the House are not happy with him. So this is a pretty remarkable moment here. Remember, Johnson got the job largely because no one knew who he was, so they couldn't hate him, right? He was like a backbencher. He didn't have the sort of rivalries and the power plays that a lot of the other people trying to get the job did. Well, he's been in the job now, and even though I think he deserves credit for the legislative victories he's helped deliver with a very narrow majority, I think time is ticking. I think his time may be up soon. So keep an eye on it. But man, if you're down, if you're like having a bad day, you got the winter blues, just think to yourself, at least I'm not Mike Johnson. As I said at the start of the video, I hope you hit that subscribe button. Independent and authentic. Those are my North Stars. I also hope you like and comment on this video in particular. Helps me grow my audience among people who are not already subscribers. Last thing is, I ask you, be an evangelist for me. Go out and tell a few people about what I'm doing here, why you think it's important, and why they should subscribe. Okay, everyone, take care.